Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today at the Sirveda Jnana series event. At Sirveda, we believe in living a conscious, compassionate, and healthy life inspired by the ancient wisdom of yoga, Ayurveda, meditation, and music. Our endeavor is to light up our lives with this sacred science of well being. We strive to create valuable resources and promote products that embody this lifestyle of being authentic, sustainable, and earth friendly. This evening, our guest is Nandini Shastri. So, welcome, Nandini. It's lovely to have you here with us today.
Thank you.
I'm just going to say a few lines to introduce Nandini, and then we'll kick off our conversation with her. So, Nandini is a dedicated practitioner of yoga, a skilled breathwork coach, and a practitioner of shamanic sound healing. Her journey into holistic wellness began with a deep immersion in yoga, where she experienced various styles of yoga and traditions of yoga. This exploration further ignited her understanding of the interconnectedness of the mind, body, and spirit, which actually led her to delve deeper into various different healing modalities. So, beyond yoga, Nandini has integrated conscious connect breathwork, Ayurvedic nutrition, pranic healing, and sound healing into her practice. And with a profound understanding of human energy system, she utilizes these diverse modalities to guide individuals towards holistic well-being, help them reconnect with their body, mind, and spirit for deep transformation. So it's such an honor to have you here with us, Nandini. You have like a plethora of different experiences. It's lovely to talk to somebody like you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Priya. Yeah.
Nandini, how did you get started into the conscious connect breath work and then into shamanic healing? Can you share your journey with us?
So, Conscious Connect Breathwork was something, I did some time ago. That was in 2014. I
Mm-hmm.
did something called as Art of Living. And in Art
Uh-huh.
of Living, this was something which was introduced, but not at a scale of, what then I learned about breathwork. But it was more to do with these two strong pranayamas, which was the Kapalbhati and the second one was Bastrika. So
Mm-hmm.
that is where I saw the shift. Because when you do the pranayam, you are actually regulating your entire system, nervous system, right?
Right.
It's all about to do with your um, regulating your life force. But when you do breath work, it is something which is more to do with the sympathetic nervous system, where you're trying to uproot things. A lot of pent up things, which are there, you're trying to uproot that. And that was the first time when I saw the shift. And I never paid heed to it, saying that, okay, I would get into it because that point of time I was in my corporate life and
Mm-hmm.
very different. And yes, then there came a time that, okay, I got into first was shamanism as a practice,
Mm-hmm.
and then it was like to do with the breath work, and then as a combination of breath work and shamanism, it's like something very different. Yeah.
Wow. So, is there a difference between the conscious connect breath work that you teach as well as pranayama? Is it very different or similar techniques and similar benefits?
No, pranayama is very different than breath work. So
Mm-hmm.
generally as a term, this term is coming more from the western side. So if you
Mm-hmm.
look at it, they call pranayama also breath work, but some of them are very conscious who've gone to Vedic
Right.
school. They will stick to pranayama as a pranayama because there is a meaning of pranayama, which I told you that you are actually regulating your life force. There's
Correct.
a
Correct.
that you're doing, right? But when you talk about the conscious connect breath work, you're consciously connecting with your breath. There is a rhythm in the way you're breathing,
I
right?
see.
If you see, we are 72% water, and
Right.
that's where you are basically creating that wave in your body. That's what is happening with conscious connect, and that's where the entire thing starts moving. That's where the shift starts to happen. And within that 10-15 minutes, you start seeing what's happening with you. You start experiencing it.
Oh, wow. Yeah, and I'm sure you're going to give us an experience of it midway through this session, right? I'm really keen on it. Okay. When you did it for the first time, how did you feel? Did anything unexpected come up?
Oh, yes. A lot. A lot. There was a lot of screaming I did. There was a lot of
Mm,
pent up emotions that have come up, the grief that I was holding, the guilt that I was holding. There were a lot of traumas also, which was there. So, yes, that happens. And that's important because it's a very simple thing. I'm a
mhm.
container. Until and unless I don't empty out things, I can't fill in new things, right?
Right, right.
Patterns which I start understanding about myself. And most of the times we want to understand the whole world, but we don't want to understand this human. So that's something which is very important. And that's what it does. And that was a big shift, that happened. And I said, yes, this is my calling and this is what I'm doing.
Oh, wow. That's awesome. And then right after the session, how do people kind of feel? Is it a feeling of relief, or what did you feel right after you did it the first time?
So yes, you feel relief that is there, you feel relaxed, but there is a lot of also crying that happens, because you have understood this human the most. You really understood your own patterns, and you really want to tap into something, which is much larger and much beyond you, where you understand the existence between
Hmm.
life and the birth and the death, this in between thing that we have to live. You really understand the existence of it, and which is very important.
Lovely. So, Nandini, you also do a lot of other shamanic practices, of course, shamanic sound healing. So, how does shamanic sound healing enhance the breathwork practices that you teach?
So, see, there are a lot of modalities, you go out, you learn. But then
Hmm.
it's all about, how do you bring in as a combination? It's like a very simple thing, I would tell you. There are so many
Hmm.
people who love sushi, as a dish. So people go out, learn sushi. Then it is up to you
Hmm.
what ingredients you are adding into it. And how do you make your sushi rolls? It's like that. So again, this is something that, you go out, you learn a lot of.
Very unique to you. Yeah.
Yes, and that's the reason where I understand that, okay, how do you open up the portal? Because all of us have a portal. It's something
Hmm.
you need to know what is your portal, and how do you connect to your portal? And when you go in that, what are the things, basically intuitively you are able to connect and you're able to understand. And there are a lot of downloads and messages that starts coming in. So that's where, I use it. And obviously, there's nothing something called as shamanic sound healing. So
Hmm.
is basically the you can say the practices that you bring in, and sound healing is very simple. You're using the instruments, but you are also having a fair idea of which instrument and how you're using it.
Got it. Okay. You also mentioned the word portal. So, some of us are very new to this. Do you mind explaining what portal means?
um so, well, when you want to enter somewhere, you
Hmm.
need a gate,
Right.
right? So, say if you want to go in a flight and you want to go to point B, from point A to point B, then you would always, take that gate and you will go in, right? Same is the thing that, this is the real world where you and I,
Hmm.
this is the real world. Then there are different worlds which are there. So, in shamanism, we call something as, the lower world, middle world, and the upper world. So when I
Okay.
want to travel into these worlds, which are different dimensions, and when I want to travel in that world, I have to open up the portal. Until and unless I don't open up the portal, my spirit guides will not take me in there. Yeah. And that's where the portals are different. The portal could be, going under a water and you have a cave, or you have a stone opening up, or you have a big, huge tree, you're again opening up. So portals are like that. Portals could
Understood.
be anything. Yeah.
Okay. That's awesome. And then do people have to prepare themselves beforehand in order to make sure the session is successful and they're ready for this kind of breathing session? Is there anything that they need to do mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually?
No, not mentally and physically as such, but yes, it's very important that make sure that you are not really full as far as your stomach is concerned, because you're breathing,
Yeah.
right? So it's very important. It's a diaphragm breathing, that you're doing. So it's very important that you make sure that you've eaten something, but which is light. You're not consuming too much of water, because you have to really go in, you really have to hit it hard. So that's the reason. That's the only thing. Other than that, no.
Okay. And have people, shared different experiences with you when they've done this kind of healing session with you? Like, have they connected with like the universal consciousness or maybe their ancestors or their higher self, etc.? Like, can you share a few experiences with people who've done this with you?
Yeah, yeah, the experience are really incredible because some people they really connect with their inner child, so they go back in
Mm.
time, and they connect that, okay, how my childhood was and the kind of things that I have done. So, all those things, and the experiences are so profound when they are sharing. It's something which is very new. And every time when I'm holding this space for them, and the experience that they share is just incredible. Because some of them would also drift, and they would say that I've just drifted. I was not in my body. I was not here at all. I've drifted somewhere. I don't know where I was. But when I'm coming back, I have pain in my right hand and my left leg, those kind of things. So they really understand the diagnosis of the body also, that I've got pain in my back, where exactly they would say all those things. Then some people have also, experienced light, like on their forehead and things like that. Some people they've also done suspension of breath, and that was very scary for me, because when suspension of breath happens, means you don't want to come back. When you've seen your divine, it's like you feel like, oh, that is it, I have to go there, I don't want to come back to the real world, I don't want to breathe anymore. So that's where the suspension happens, and that was very scary. So we really have to lift somebody, like, rub them so that they get back to breathing, things like that. So yes, the
Wow.
experiences are really, really profound, I can say.
Wow. So do you feel like you've also evolved over the years and your practices have evolved?
Yeah, it's like, it's like when you practice something, you will evolve, right? You will not stay there as stagnant, right? You will keep evolving as human, because these are new experiences, these are new things. When you're in a container, and when you're learning these things, it's just that one part of the thing. But when you're out in the real world, and when you're really meeting real people, with real set of things and whatever, they're early examples for you. And that's where you understand, okay, how such subjects or cases are to be handled, and somewhere you need to show that empathy, because some people, they also start screaming, they scream like anything. It is like you just can't take that scream, it's like that kind of a scream, but it's all right, everything is welcome. That's what we say.
That's nice. So as a facilitator, you probably just have to have like a very safe and unconditionally loving space for people to kind of just let them be and express themselves.
Yes.
It's
Because
very
as per our
interesting.
code of ethics, we when we hold the space for any
Mm-hmm.
facilitator, when you are holding the space, you cannot judge that individual. You have
That's
no
true.
right to judge that individual, because that individual is a pure soul. You're just connecting and you're helping that person to journey or navigate. That's it. That's the job of the facilitator. You cannot judge him, her for anything, and you just have to allow them to be. Because this is what we do in real world, right? When you have to step out, there is a facade, there is a mask that you will wear. You don't like that person, but still you will keep smiling, but here in this container, it doesn't work like that. As per the code of ethics, we are just holding space for the soul, and that is it.
Pretty intense, huh? Okay. And then how do people, integrate the different experiences or messages that they kind of receive through these breathwork journeys? And also, how many sessions does it take? Like, does one have to do it constantly for a few months, years, or how many times would you say one needs to do it to kind of feel the impact?
So generally, when we start, like, see, when I do one-on-one session, and when I get, like, I have right now one guy who's very young,
Mm-hmm.
but he's driven into alcohol and things like that, and he's had some, breakups and things like that in his life. So he feels like, oh, I've seen a lot. So I tell him, dude, you've not seen a lot, this is just the beginning of, whatever you're stepping into. But this is not just all. But in all these things, you're forgetting who you are. As your faculties are working, they're in place, you're all doing good, and you can work well and things like that. But you are wasting your time and energy, something which is not going to give you any returns or any rewards, and any recognition. So I'm working with him. So there are days when he comes, he's smoked and he's come. So I have to tell him that, okay. And then I make him do certain activities. I can't just take him directly into the breathwork process and things like that, because that could be very hard for him. So you really
Mm-hmm.
need to know what has happened, and you need to be as open as you can, because you're going to help someone. So these are the kind of cases that comes in. But again, it depends that, how you're trying to handle each one. As I just told you that, he's got one problem. There is somebody, who's got an issue because she's forgotten that, who she is, and today she feels all alone. So, that loneliness is killing her. But I feel that, somewhere it's not just that loneliness, you have not given yourself enough credit of being alive. And
Right.
saying that, okay, there is so much that can be learned, there is so much that can be done, but you've just given emphasis on unwanted things. So there are like different kind of cases that comes in, and it's very important. Again, I would say that, okay, you can do 5 sessions with me, but it is something up to you as a soul to decide whether these 5 sessions are going to be fine with me, or I need to indulge into more. And then we mutually take a call that, okay, you need more sessions. But again, those sessions are divided. They are not like, we would just go in one row and try to finish it, because it's very exhausting also, and you need to have that much energy to really keep going, keep going, keep going.
That's true. And then once we learn it from you, can one just practice by themselves?
So it's not very easy to practice. It's like, there are many people, they go for, say, yoga TTC, and I
Mm-hmm.
know many of them, they do yoga TTC and things like that. But then it's only teaching others. What happens to your own self learning? So when you do this, you might do it for 10 minutes or whatever, but do you think you can really do it? You can do the self practice for 50 minutes? I mean, it's not very easy. It's not very easy. You really, really have to integrate these things in your daily routine. It's a matter of discipline. If you have the
That's true.
discipline in place, you can do anything then. You can integrate anything, I could say.
That's true. Do you have a mentor yourself?
Sorry?
Do you have a mentor yourself, or a guru or a teacher?
So I had a teacher, I had a mentor. I mean, but today it's like, again, integration is the most important thing. You
Yeah.
see something, you replace it with something. And after replacing, what do? You integrate those things in your life, right? Because I like this version of mine. I don't like that earlier version of mine. So I'm so happy that I just cannot compromise or allow anything to happen to this version. That's it.
Right. So how do you kind of integrate all of the experiences and the messages, downloads, learnings that you receive?
So there is very clearly that, when it is my time, I don't give
Mhm.
a minute also from my time to anyone. It is like that. So when I'm doing my practice every day, I'm up by, say, around 3:45 in the morning. Then I
Okay.
start my, I do some kriyas and things like that. And then by 4:30, I start with my practice. So I'm done like around by 7-ish. And then I take my
Wow.
classes and things like that. And then I have the day for doing all the other things. So that's,
Wow. That is something, Nandini. 3:45 is amazing. That's the Brahma Muhurat time and very disciplined.
yeah, yeah, that's all. Thanks
That's
for letting me
amazing.
know.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So, in what areas of life has all of this impacted you? Like, what areas of your life have gotten better as a result of doing these practices?
Oh, I can say it was a major shift for me because, say, one, I found myself, I mean, that's the most important thing, I think, because we all have this, I think, a different junoon or a passion, that, okay, this is my benchmark. I want to be here. I want to achieve this. I want to have an Audi. Then I want to have this car. And then, this house and that house and things like that. But in all that, you just forget that, okay, you have a life to live, and
Hmm.
there is a way how do you go about it. And trust me, today, the profession, or probably profession is a very wrong word, but this field I am in, I wouldn't say this is very rewarding than in my corporate life, but I'm very
Hmm.
happy and I'm very content in terms of what I do and what I get to the table. So I'm very happy with that, I would say. So it is, I mean, it's given me a big shift as far as my diet is concerned, as far as
Hmm.
my, daily routines, like, bringing Ayurveda in my life in terms of doing Abhyanga and things like that and all of that. It's made a huge, huge difference. I mean, I don't look my age and I'm very happy with that.
That's awesome. Okay, and I was reading your bio, and a fun fact that you're actually an animal whisperer as well.
Yeah.
So tell me a little more about that.
So again, see, if you want to make sure that you channelize yourself,
Hmm.
or you have certain, say, understanding or certain gifts by your ancestors, and you want to channelize it, the way to do is, obviously, in yoga, as per the 8 limbs of Patanjali, also we say after pranayama comes the dhyana and things like that. So that is a fact. So you need to make sure that first you're regulated completely. The regulation has to be done, and then you meditate. That's where your intuition becomes very, very powerful. That's like sharpening, any blade or pencil or things like that. And that's what I was doing it. Because when I started communicating with pets, because I have a pet at home, I mean,
Mhm,
we all
mhm.
love him a lot. So I need to know every time about him, that does he like, where he's staying? Does he like us as humans? Our family, our energies and things like that. But he said that, yeah, he decided to come in here, which was like, wow, very nice. So it's something, at constant level, it's again intuitive. So like you can talk to the plants also. If you just sit there and you try to connect, the plant will tell you a lot of things, because they are carrying so much of information. They were there before you and I were even born.
Of course, yeah.
So there's a lot that they can speak, they can tell you. So I mean, again, it's more to do with intuition, and again understanding that, okay, this is your behavior as a mirroring, or this is something that they've taken it on, or it's something more about they would want to give you some message. Also, in all these things, it's very important. Like, say for example, if my neighbor has a pet, I can connect
Mhm.
with him just in terms of knowing how is your health, is everything okay with you, but I can never say that are your humans taking care of you and blah blah blah, because he will never give me correct information. There will be a wall, because he doesn't
Okay.
want to give that information. It's very clear. Whenever any pet enters in your house, it is something that they have decided that I want to go here, this is the home I want to be in. So that's how it is. And they would.
So that was just very intuitive on your end. You just, that was nice. Okay. Can you maybe share a little more about the shamanic healing journeys and shamanic sound work, etc.? How different is it from, the regular sound healing that people do?
So it's not very different. Again, as I said, for me, how I do is I open up the portal, and
Mm-hmm.
I invite the spirits, from all the three worlds. So it's very important when you do something, you invite the unknown, and unseen. So that's what I do. And each one of us have our guiding spirits, our animal
Mm-hmm.
spirits with us, whether it is a bird, whether it's an animal, or whatsoever. But you have
Mm-hmm.
your guiding spirits with you. It's something that, again, intuitively you would know that, okay, is horse my animal spirit, is owl my animal spirit, because you will keep encountering it every time. So you need to reflect a bit from your childhood to now, that which animal draws you, and you have to look at the characteristics also, which basically somewhere also matches with your character, something like that. So how you are, I mean, are you strong like the horse, who's also very friendly, fragile at the same time? But when it comes to strength, horse has a very different kind of in strength, right? So those are the kind of things also that, that happens. So you call them, and then when you invite the spirits, that's where you begin the journey. So when I want to start the journey, obviously I always use my rattler and I use my drum, because that's how I begin the journey, because again, we call the spirit of the drum. And it's
Mm-hmm.
very important you call the ancestors also, because whoever has designed this drum or the skin that has been used, it all has spirit. So in
Right.
shamanism, the most important thing that we work, when we work with plant medicines also, we call
Mm-hmm.
the spirits, it's the most important thing. Till the time they don't become my ally, I will not be able to really, really go in. I wouldn't get too many downloads, and I wouldn't even understand. I wouldn't have the sense of understanding what is happening with that energy or this energy. So
Wow. Very interesting. There's a lot more that I need to learn about this. Do you feel like people have any myths around shamanism or breathwork that you teach?
not with breathworks, but yeah, with shamanism, there is a lot of, you can say, some notion which is running around in the market. And I don't know why. I mean, I wouldn't blame anyone for that, because it all depends that how someone has learned, and how one has also, I mean, got to the table. It's very important, because there are practices like, say for example, the plant medicines, but again, these plant medicines, when we talk about the psychedelic effect of it, it is not to get somebody high.
Yeah.
People, like when you do the magic mushrooms or things like that, it is not for something else. It is something more for you to know that who you are, to discover your own self, to understand your own DNA. So those are the most important things when you have to understand about these plant medicines, and when it comes especially to the psychedelic thing. So I think that's the reason in that quote, shamanism somewhere has been misunderstood,
Mm-hmm.
but it's a very beautiful practice if one can really understand and deep dive. Because if you go to Peru and you like, if you go to Siberia and places like that, they are still practicing this. And
Yeah.
people don't still see this as a cult or, something which is ill. It is not. It's not. You just need to know that, when you're learning this practice, when you're learning this art, what are you basically going to cater to? Are you trying to use this in some other aspect, or you're being more authentic in terms of what you want to offer? That's the whole thing. It all depends on your authenticity, nothing else.
That's true, right? Because the same thing, you could do it in a very sacred way by offering prayers, inviting the animal spirits or the plant spirits, and then it takes you on a completely different journey versus you just doing it, for, okay, I want to get high, and then there's no, you're not, it's not done in a very sacred way, so that trip is completely different. So yeah, I agree. Okay, and so if someone's very new to this and they're wanting to explore shamanism or conscious breathwork, do you have any advice for them?
So I would say you should experience it. Experience is everything. I mean, see, me saying however I would be convincing, but it all depends, on your experience with whomever you're going and you're trying this thing out. One thing is there with whether I talk about shamanism or I talk about, say, conscious connect breathwork, you will definitely
Mm-hmm.
feel a shift, that's there. And then it's all about your calling. What is your inner voice telling you? I mean, what kind of a calling do you have? That's it.
Okay, lovely. Okay, so I guess at this point would be a nice segue into you giving us an experience of what we've been talking about for half an hour. So should we go into
Please.
this journey? Awesome.
So is it okay if I keep my camera off because I want to use the instruments also? Is that all right?
I think it would be nice if you can keep it on. Is that okay? Okay, cool. Mhm.
Cool.
Bye.
Will do. All right, we can sit comfortably. You can keep your eyes closed. Take a deep breath. Inhale and exhale. One more time. Take a deep breath. Inhale and exhale out. I want you to do a small technique, but for that, I think you will have to open your eyes and look at me, how I'm going to do it. So, sorry, very sorry for that. So, I want you to, this is a thing that, I bring in from the pranic healing that I do. So, I want you to press into the tip of your fingers like this. Okay. Then take the thumb from the right hand, bring it to the center of your palm on the left hand side, left palm, left thumb into the center of your right palm. Now, as if you're holding a ball, keep your armpits a little free. Okay, don't block them because there are these meridians and they should not get blocked. So keep them little lifted. Now, this is the ball that you're holding towards your heart chakra. You're going to bring the tip of your tongue towards the roof of your palate up. Okay, you're going to touch it. You're going to close your eyes and you're going to bring in your focus towards your third eye. Clear? So you're going to take some deep breaths like inhale, exhale. And as you're breathing, you will start feeling that energy like you're holding the energy ball in your hand. Few more breaths as you inhale and exhale. Keep breathing. Very slowly, just try to take your hand in and out. Keep your fingers soft and try to feel some kind of in heat. There is something which is invisible, you can't see, but it is not allowing you to come forward like a ball. Keep breathing as you inhale and exhale. With every exhalation, you will observe this heat towards the center. Now, I invite you to call upon your spirit animals. Think what is coming to your head when you call for your spirit animals. This is where you will first encounter the spirit animal who comes for you, the first thing that comes to your head. And as you exhale, I want you to bring your palm down onto your thighs. Keep your eyes soft and closed. Do not frown. Keep your forehead calm. Inhale and exhale. Now, the way you're going to breathe is you're going to inhale where your belly comes out. Second inhalation, chest lifts up, and exhale through the mouth. There is no pause. So make sure there is zero pause. It's going to be in, out to the mouth. Let's go. Let's begin. In, out to the mouth. In, out. In, out. In, out. In, out. In, out to the mouth. In, out. In, out. In, out to the mouth. In, out. Don't get absorbed by anything. Just go with your rhythm. In, out. Feel the wave. In, out to the mouth. In, out. Ha. In, ha. In, ha. In, ha. In, out to the mouth. In, out. In, out. In, out to the mouth. In, out. More. In, out. In, out. Keep going. In, ha. In, ha. Keep the mouth wide open. In, ha. Yes. In, ha. In, ha. In, ha. In, ha. Keep going. In, out. In, out. In, out. In, out. More. In, out. 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 Zero pause. In, out. In, out. Keep going, Shweta. In, out. Lovely. In, out. In, out. Three more. In, out. In, out. Lovely. In, out. In, out. In, out. In, out. Out. In, in, going. In, out. 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 Lovely. Out. 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 Keep going. In, out. In, out. In, out. Out. Lovely. In, out. Ha. In, ha. In, ha. 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 In, ha. 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 Wait. Stop. Out. 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 out, out, out. Keep going. Out, more. Out, hit it. Out, 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 in, out, out, in, out, in, out, out, in, out, in, out, 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 in, out, in, out, in, out, 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 out. Now, on the count of 3, we are going to do the retention. So take deep breath in, out, in, out, in, out. Take a deep breath, inhale, and hold the breath. Hold it. Ha, exhale out. Back to your breath. In, out to the mouth. In, out. Come on, Shweta. In, ha. In, ha. In, ha. In, ha. Keep going, Priya. Lovely. Out. That's your rhythm. Keep going. In, out. In, out. In, out. In, out. Lovely. In, out. 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 Keep going. Beautiful. In, out. 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 Yes. In, ha. In, ha. In, ha. In, ha. Keep going. In, out. Yes. In, out. 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 In, out. Out. Full breath. Out. Feel it in the belly. Out. In, out. In, out. In, out. In, out. Belly, chest, out to the mouth. Belly, chest, out to the mouth. Keep going. Count of three. We'll again go for the retention. Exit retention. So take a deep breath. In, out. In, out the mouth. In, out. Take a deep breath. Inhale. Exhale. Hold the breath. Hold, hold capacity. Back. Belly. In and out. Breathing. Take deep breaths in and out. Inhale and exhale. Slowly try to land. Now, this is where you feel there is so much of oxygen that's gone into your body just in 12 minutes of the work. So this is the hyperventilation. You can imagine what happens when you're breathing for 50 minutes. Beautiful. Good work. Take few moments where you breathe in and out and then slowly come back to yourself. Ah. So any popcorns? Quick questions?
It was lovely. So energizing and uplifting. You just feel like a buzz of energy. Really nice.
For
The
you, it is
rhythm's also very nice. Yeah, it's lovely. Thank you.
because you'll enjoy now what you're going to do after this.
Cute. Do we have any questions from the audience?
Felt a good rush of energy.
Thank you,
You,
Arjun. Thank you
Arjun?
so much.
Anyone want to share the experience? Shraddha, do you want to share your experience?
I think it's an amazing experience to think how you could, create a synergy around yourself by just the breath work, right? I'm just thinking that we've today done it over a VC here in person with Nandini. How does the sound amplify what you're experiencing? What she says about feeling lightness, feeling something, and I think I can understand, how the session would look like, but it's a good experience. Thank you, Nandini.
Anyone else want to share or ask questions? It's open. You can unmute yourselves and talk. Everyone's in the Zen mode, Nandini.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to talk.
Yeah, even you've gone quiet actually.
I loved it. Very nice. The rhythm's also very nice. It's easy to catch and then feel. It's a very feel good practice.
But Priya, that's
Mhm.
the catch. That this is what happens in our real life also. There is so much happening around you, the external energy. That is where your breathwork teaches you. Don't get absorbed by them. You go with your rhythm. Keep hitting it,
Yeah,
following it. Go with your rhythm. Don't get absorbed by what is happening there. You cannot control a damn thing about it. That's the fact of life. But what you can
agree.
control is your reactions, your response, and this human. That's it.
Yeah. Hmm. Beautiful.
Nandini, so this is like a shamanic ritual, breathwork ritual, right? What we did right now.
Yeah, so I mean, yes, because before even we started, I had opened up the portal. I mean, that's how I really work. So because it's very important, the guiding spirits are here with us always. Because even if it's not a actual space, it's virtual thing, but then still I'm holding space for a lot of people, and I can't even see some of them. So it's very important that whatever goes out right.
Interesting. So what are the similarities and dissimilarities between yoga and shamanic work? Uh, generally, because even there is also yoga has this similar sort of rhythmic pranayam, right? Like you mentioned, the one that you did in Art of Living. So it's very interesting that though both the cultures are quite far apart, at least based on their geolocation, but they're similar with some of their practices.
So to answer that, see in yoga, when as I told Priya also initially when we started talking that in yoga when we talk about pranayama, so again what pranayama is doing is trying to basically calm the mind because this is a monkey mind. It keeps chattering even if nobody's coming and talking to you. Still, keeps going and keeps chattering around. So it's very important. One, it will just calm you down. That mind will get calmer. That's one thing. But in pranayama, there are these two pranayamas, which is the Kapalbhati and the Bastrika. They are actually very, very intense. They are also used as kriyas, but at the same time, if you look at it, it's just not hitting your parasympathetic nervous system. It is also uprooting a lot of things, in terms of your sympathetic nervous system. It does. These two things does. So that's there, and plus the effects of it are very different. But when we talk about say breath work is completely you're consciously breathing. You are just in your own breath. You're just in your own rhythm, and that is where we say that okay, don't get absorbed by the music which is going around, but get absorbed by what is happening here internally. So I hope I've given you your questions answer.
Yeah. Yeah. That's interesting. Are there also like similarities in other aspects with shamanic work? Like, yoga has things like asanas and meditation and those parts. Is there like any parallels in the shamanic world as well?
Yeah, if you look at it, see, when we talk about the psychedelic things of shamanism, or we talk about, intuitive work also. So in yoga, we call it as meditation. But in shamanism, we keep connecting with all the spirits, like literally, like say Mama Pacha, which is Mother Earth, or we talk about we talk about say sitting with a tree and downloading information even from there. So even that is something which is very informative. But when you're doing say pranayam meditation, there is a different download which you're getting, which is from the universe. And when you're very, I mean, intentionally, when you're sitting, whether it is with Mother Earth or with the tree or something like that, or even with stone, even stone holds a lot of information. Even they give you a lot of information. Even water gives you a lot of information. So in shamanism, this is how they go to say water, sea, and that's how they collect information from there. So even for all of us, as we talk about these five elements, so if you look at it in shamanism also, these five elements are there, and very closely you would be working with these elements. Like some of the elements already have an alive with you even when you were born, whether it is water, whether it is earth, like that.
Okay. Okay. Interesting. Thank you.
Thank you.
Lovely. So we do have a request from the audience. So it's Christina. So she's saying that she's also, a sound healer and a psychologist and a pranic healer. But every time she hears anything about shamanism or even the word or listens about shamanic healing, she feels like it's a strong calling. So she wants to know how can one learn more about shamanism and how do you start your journey into shamanism?
there is, see, one thing which is very clear, that you cannot be in your comfort and learn anything. Okay, that's point number one, that always remember. Two, you really have to go in there to experience. For me, when I had this strong calling of shamanism, your shaman has to appear front of you. That is very
Mhm.
important. And I had this teacher from London, from Poland, with whom it just happened because I was in search of my shaman, and there were a couple of them, I had come across. But I know somehow, again, intuitively, I felt she's the person, and I went to her. So she has the practice of the indigenous shamans. And
Mhm.
then, yeah, and then when you go to different places like Peru, as I said, or even Egypt, there are different shamans and they have different practices. So it's like that. So if you feel you have a strong calling, then don't wait. Go for it.
So how do we get to know more about it?
See more about it. As I told you that, there's a very old saying that when the student is ready, the teacher
The
appears.
teacher appears.
Huh. So I feel it is true in every way, in every way. Because even in yoga, like when I started with my journey, when I was really ready, my teacher appeared, and my teacher really broke me down into pieces. So even when I say that, okay, I wanted to walk on this path, but then still I'm carrying something with me. I don't emptied my
True.
bag, whether it was ego or whether it was who am I and where am I coming from and blah, blah, blah. But he tore me apart, I'm telling you. And that's where the beginning of this human happened, I would say. you know yeah, so that's very important. That's what I said, that if you want to do this, don't sit there and think that, okay, it's going to happen here. You need to make your plans and you need to take first step to move in there, then it will happen.
Very true. Okay, I guess we don't have any other questions. So, if any of you do want to learn a little more or want to continue to join these Gyana series, we keep posting them every 2 weeks and call experts in different areas of yoga, Ayurveda, spirituality, philosophy, music as well. So, if you all are interested, please sign up for our newsletter. You will get these notifications. You can follow us on Instagram, Sarveda Shala, Sarveda Life, and you can also follow Nandini and reach out. We're of course going to be collaborating for events in future as well and workshops, so stay tuned. Nandini, is your Instagram Nandini Shastri?
No, it's Nandini dot breath and beyond.
Okay, Nandini.breath and beyond. That's where you can reach out to Nandini as well. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. If you do have any questions, feel free to reach out to either me or Arjun or even Nandini. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank
Bye.
you, Priya. Thank you, Arjun.
You're
Thank you,
welcome.
Aho. Thank you.
Thank
Have a lovely evening.